tutorial. This has been one of the most requested, and I can't believe I actually haven't done it until now, but there were actually a few products I had to pick up for this, so you're going to see some new things in this video demonstrated. And if you're new to these videos that I do, basically I go every other with drugstore and high-end. For example, the last one I did was Estee Lauder with a look that was very different from this one, but I just use one brand's products in a full face tutorial, so I demonstrate how they work, and then at the end I sort of recap, you know, my little reviews of everything. As for this Revlon look, I just kind of let the season guide me as far as what I chose to do here. It's really light, it's very simple. I chose more of the lightweight foundation products from this brand. As far as the eyeshadow, you know, it's very basic use of just a simple, you know, Revlon eyeshadow quad. There's nothing intricate about it, there's nothing overly dark about it, but it still has some definition. And then with the lips, you know, just that pop of pink. I thought it would look nice with this shirt. I'm a big fan of like teal or seafoam green and then pink alongside. I also want to point out that in the info box below I have links to every one brand tutorial that I've done. I also have a playlist where you can easily get to all of them, but check that out first, and if you see one that I haven't done and you want to request it, definitely request the brand you want to see in the comments section. So here's the look. First, I'm going to use my Nearly Naked foundation. I have it in the shade Nude. I just kind of dot that roughly all over my face. And then I'm using my Sigma F80 brush. It's giving me, you know, kind of a medium coverage. Not quite enough coverage to, you know, do away with under eye circles and stuff like that, but it's definitely something that kind of makes you just look a little bit more radiant, perks up the skin, gives it back a little bit of a glow without seeming shimmery or anything. Next, I'm using my PhotoReady Stick Concealer in light medium, and this is a really good concealer just coverage-wise, and I'm gonna use this around my eye area. Also a little bit around my nose, and then I'm using my P80. So this is just like the smaller baby version of the one that I used for my foundation all over my face from Sigma. I don't feel like it applies too much pressure, but you get a very even blend on whatever concealer product you're using. So this does really well for blending out that stick concealer. So there you can see we've got pretty good coverage considering it was a lightweight foundation and then a concealer that did a little bit more for us. And then over the top of that, I'm using my Revlon Nearly Naked pressed powder. Really nice texture on this powder, very unpowder-like, if that makes sense. And I kind of like to blot it around areas where I've concealed. If I'm just, you know, going over this real quick and using my brush, I sort of blot over concealed areas and then blend a little bit more around the rest of the face and, you know, the hairline, the jawline. I would say, if anything, it just adds a little bit of coverage and a little bit of a mattified appearance to my face, but it's not chalky, cakey, dry seeming. Next up is bronzer. This is the Revlon PhotoReady bronzer. The one shade it comes in is Bronzed and Chic, and can you tell I like this stuff? It's a 100% matte bronzer, but it does incorporate 4 different shades. Depending on how dark your skin is, you know, this could be contouring for you, or this could be. There aren't a lot of, you know, fantastic matte drugstore bronzers. Like a few others that come to mind would be the Rimmel Natural Bronzer in Sunlight, NYC Sunny, but this is the one that gets a little bit deeper than those. So this would be the best, you know, medium to deeper bronzer. Next we're going to use the Revlon PhotoReady Cream Blush. This shade is called Flushed. As you can see, it's a pretty vibrant pink here, and I'm going to be using my e.l.f. small stipple brush. I'm going to go straight into the product, just like so, pick up some of that color, and then I'm going to stipple this right onto like the outer part of the apple of my cheek. So just kind of dot it on there. And kind of work upward as well. With blush, I mean, it's all about how you apply it. A lot of people could see this and be freaked out and be like, no, I could never wear that. And I've got so many blushes that look so intense in the packaging, but I mean, if you're applying them lightly, you're just gonna get like a hue of this color. I say don't be too scared about different colored blushes because you can really wear them as just as sheer as you can apply them, you know? With this blush, I'm just going with very light amounts and then kind of building it up. You know, I put on my initial application of it, and then I kind of go back for just a little bit more. I'm going to start off the eye look by kind of cleaning up the brow just a little bit. This is the Revlon Brow Fantasy, and the shade I have is Brunette. And basically this is a pencil on one end and then a tinted kind of brow gel sort of thing, but it's not a gel with a lot of hold to it. It's more just about the tint that it's going to give your brow. I just give a little extra right here in the front of the brow. Tad more at the end also. I really don't love the way that pencil went on. It seems too thick, a little bit like out of control, I guess, compared to, you know, the angled liner brushes that you might use with the powder. I feel like I have a lot of control with that. This seemed just a little too thick and a little too warm in color. So if you're like me, you've got really dark brown hair, this might come off with just like a little too much red in it. But I am going to use this gel. Colorstay Smoky Shadow Stick. The shade is Smolder. It's got kind of a really, really light blue and a dark teal on it. And I'm going to use both ends of that. First the light end, and this is going to act like, you know, just a colored base basically for the shadow I use. So I'm just going to use the light end over most of the inner part of the eye. Then you can see the darker end just has a little bit more of a point to it. I'm using that on the outer part of my lid here. Just kind of blend the two together a little bit with your finger. And I'm going to go under the eye just a hair with that also. Then I'm using this Colorstay Quad, and the shade is called Enchanted. It has a light pink, kind of a gray, a deep green, and a light sort of taupe color. And I'm going to use the pink first. I'm just going to use the sponge tip because I feel like that does give me just the most impact here. So I'm going right around the inner corner to brighten that up, and pulling up just a little bit onto the upper lid. Then I'm going to take this medium shade right down here and just overlap that a bit. And then I'm picking up some of this dark green. With that, I'm going just on the outermost corner here. And the stick that's underneath is really helping these shadows to pop a little bit more than they do otherwise. Next, I'm taking this gray with kind of a fluffy crease brush. And with that, I'm going to start in the innermost part of the crease here and just lightly get some of that color there. Then I'm going to the dark green, kind of work into the outermost part of the crease. I'm not really doing a bold like outer V thing, but I'm just blending that into the outer part of the crease and kind of overlap a little bit with the gray. And then I'm taking just a little bit of that pink again and going right up under the brow. I'm using the Revlon Colorstay. This is the cream gel liner, and it does come in the top here with a little brush. I don't particularly like this brush. It's just kind of a flat, small brush, and I don't know, I just feel like it takes me a long time to apply it with that. So I'm going to use my Real Techniques. This is the fine liner brush, yeah. And you can see it's just more of that pointed tip style. I'm just going to go from the inner to outer corner. Something about this liner, it seems a little more dry than some of the other cream and gel formulas. Now this does seem to have good staying power for me, and I don't feel like it fades, you know, throughout the day, but it just doesn't have that same, you know, smooth, like one swipe across the eye kind of effect. Then I'm taking this Colorstay pencil liner, and the shade is Teal. And I'm going to use that just a little bit. It reminds me of like the dark green shade really in the quad we used. And I'm going to just sort of make that meet up with the outer end of the black. And this does not glide on like a lot of the newer creamier liners do these days. I'm just going to go about halfway in with that. Then with a pencil brush, I'm just going to go back to this deepest color over the top of that teal. It's going to give us a very softened look on the lower lash line. And then taking a little bit of like that medium taupe color that was in there and blending that the rest of the way. Next, I'm going to curl my lashes. Then I'm using this PhotoReady 3D Volume Mascara. It's got a lot of bristles, kind of actually long bristles there, and then some right around the tip as well. I don't see any clumps with this, but what I tend to have happen with me with this, after, you know, just a little bit after I apply it, I feel like the lashes kind of fall. And it's not an instantaneous thing. This doesn't seem especially heavy on my lashes, so it seems kind of weird that they would be so weighed down, but it's like they just can't really keep the curl with this one. And that's not cool. I'm gonna put a little bit on the lower part. And I really don't hardly want to do this, but because I know that it does smudge just a little bit on me as the day goes on. This is the Revlon Just Bitten Kissable Balm Stain, and the shade is Cherish, and it's a really pretty pink. I don't think I've talked a lot about this shade, but it has a beautiful look. And that's giving the lips, you know, a little bit of moisture, not a ton, not as much as some of the other sticks you might find out there in the drugstore. I'm gonna use my Revlon gloss and foiled over the top of this just to give it even more of a shine here. I'm gonna use it primarily right in the center of my lower lip. That's my little trick for full lips, and just really lightly everywhere else along the lips. All right, that's it. Nothing too tricky there. Just my little reviews on everything. First off, the Nearly Naked foundation. I do have a full review video demonstration, I mean, very in-depth on this Nearly Naked foundation and the powder. But I feel like for this time of year, you know, I wanted to keep that in mind. You know, I'm doing this as we head into spring, and I wanted to use this more lightweight foundation. Now, that doesn't mean this doesn't have any coverage. I would call it medium coverage. I can wear this for a whole day and not touch it up at all, and it really doesn't look that bad. I mean, I do enjoy, you know, having the powder to set this with. I think this adds a little bit of coverage to the foundation, and I think it kind of keeps the skin a little bit more matte without looking chalky. I mean, as I look at my skin, I feel like, you know, I can still see some freckles through there. It still looks very skin-like, but it looks much more even than it was before I used, you know, the foundation and the powder. And the concealer is huge. I mean, I love this PhotoReady concealer. I like how creamy it is. It's really not like stick concealers of the old days when they all seemed very dry and seemed to all give off like way too much product when you would go under your eyes or something like that. This is a little bit thinner, but it still has really good coverage, and this light medium shade, if your skin tone is like mine, this is a wonderful match for me, and it, you know, conceals spots or circles very, very well. Something from the drugstore that has just a bit more moisture than this would be the CoverGirl Plus Olay concealer stick, but coverage-wise, they're pretty darn close to one another. They both work really well. Probably my favorite drugstore bronzer is the Revlon PhotoReady Bronzed and Chic. It incorporates 4 different tones. I feel like it's great for contouring. You can kind of work from the top part if you just want a little added glow to your skin. And by glow, I just mean like a little bit of a color boost, not a shimmery glow. So it's very natural looking. I would totally recommend this. And I was actually pretty impressed with this Revlon PhotoReady blush. I've been wearing this on and off, kind of experimenting with the staying power, and the staying power has actually been pretty good for me. Even not setting it with a powder, which I didn't with this look, but this shade is called Flush. You could apply it with your fingers if you want to, and you could get even more intensity than we got using that stippling brush, but I'm just more comfortable with the stippling brush because when you use it, you don't really mess with the underneath layers of your makeup so much. Let's talk about this Smoky shadow stick. I have mentioned this in another review video on Revlon products. So we got this that we used, and we also used this Colorstay Quad in Enchanted. I like the colors on all of these. I think, you know, these are pretty shadow colors put together. I love dark green. I'm liking it more and more the more I use it. But these two products are better together than they are apart. I've worn this on its own. I feel like the color fades a lot. It doesn't crease a whole bunch on me, but I feel like the color just doesn't have the same intensity from, you know, the start of the day to the end of the day. It doesn't maintain. But when you use this as a base, it can really function to pump up these powder shadows quite a bit more. Here are some swatches of those powder shadows just as is with no base, and you can see they're pretty sheer, you know. They're not like a Wet n Wild or, you know, a NYX or something like that. I remember when I thought Revlon Colorstay pencils were God's gift to eyeliner back in the day, and then then over time, like so many brands, I'm thinking Maybelline Master Drama, I'm thinking NYX Slide-On liners, even drugstore brands, you know, have come out with liners that not only have wonderful staying power, but they glide on like butter. And this one is just really not as easy to put on. I mean, the color can be nice, but I'm pressing so hard on my hand to get that kind of a look. It's gonna last for me. I know the staying power is good, but it's hard to get the most out of it without pressing really hard, and you don't want to do that on your eye. Something that's new to me now is the Colorstay Cream Liner. This I feel is not as creamy as like the Physicians Formula Cream Gel Liner, the L'Oreal Infallible. I can't complain about the staying power with this, and it is very rich and black. It's matte, you know, it has the desired impact that I want from something like this, but I felt like it was just like I kept having to go back to the product to get a creamy enough line to go across, you know, just a couple centimeters and then back for more, you know, so I wouldn't go back and repurchase that. I'm not a big fan of the Brow Fantasy. I'm not sure if there's another shade deeper from this one called Brunette, but this is just a little too reddish, a little too warm for my hair and my brows. And I'm just not wild about that kind of pencil thing. I'm more into like my e.l.f. Studio Brow Kit or the Anastasia Brow Kit. Revlon PhotoReady Mascara. I was about to say I've had a love-hate relationship with Revlon mascaras, but really it's just been a hate relationship. I don't like hardly any of them, and I really wouldn't recommend this one either. I mean, I felt like it did a good job of not clumping the lashes. It did give me some added length, but for some strange reason, I felt like it practically removed the curl from them, and I did go back. Secret, I went back and I recurled them just a little bit, but I mean, I don't want to have to do that. Revlon, I think, is awesome with lip products, and I mean, if I were to tell you what are my favorite kinds of Revlon lip products, I actually have a video all about that topic, but I would say the lip butters are great, the Super Lustrous lip glosses, and the Super Lustrous lipsticks. Actually, that's a huge line of lipstick, and I mean, they have so many amazing colors there. As far as these Just Bitten Kissable Balm stains, these are going to be a little more hit and miss depending on what you expect out of these. If you really want the stain, which you should be able to expect that because it's in the name, right? I feel like the deeper shades and the brighter shades give off a little bit more of a stain than, say, shades this light and lighter. So that's just the way it is with these. I do love the color that these give off, regardless of whether they're going to stain my lips long term. I mean, I like the way they give off color, and I do like the little bit of shine that they have. This, I think, looked beautiful even before I put the gloss on, so I think this is a really pretty springy pink color. And you guys know I love my Revlon Foiled. This is the Super Lustrous Lip Gloss in Foiled. This is what I always like to have around, just to give any lip product just a little more pop and give your lips the look of a little more fullness. Really cannot complain about the Revlon lip products. I have so many I love. If you haven't investigated a lot of drugstore lip products, check out Revlon's. The eye products, particularly what I used in this look, I mean, I'm not upset with the look that I ended up with, but the individual products I don't think are that awesome. Like, they're definitely not the strengths of everything I've used. I really like the face products. I like the Nearly Naked stuff. The PhotoReady concealer is great. Also like that new cream blush. And I really like the Bronzed and Chic bronzer as well. Hopefully this steers you in the right direction if you're looking to try some new stuff from Revlon. Don't forget to request what brand you want to see next in a one brand tutorial, and thanks for watching. Bye!